Good afternoon, members. We have already formed a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order. Item 1 on the agenda, confirmation of the minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of December. We have already sent out the minutes. We haven't received any proposed amendments. Can we confirm the minutes? No questions, the minutes confirmed. Information papers issued since the last meeting. So please note, since the last meeting, 2 information papers have been issued. The first one is on the financial position of the Applied Research Fund for the period from the 1st of June to the 31st of August 2016. Paper CBE bracket 1, 415/16 to 17 bracket 01. Please note the paper. For the second one, probably you will be more interested in that, and that's in relation to the information paper on the update of the Copyright Tribunal rules, and that is paper CB bracket 1, 476/16 to 17 bracket 01. Well, the government told us that the public consultation for the updating of the Copyright Tribunal rules has been completed. Having considered the views, the rules have been amended, and the administration told us that further discussion was held with the stakeholders, mainly the Bar Association and the Law Society. They were of the view that the final draft would be fine, and the Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal also agreed with the final draft. The administration intends to submit the relevant subsidiary legislation to the LegCo within this legislative year. It will be in of the nature of negative vetting. At the regular meeting held in March 2015, members got a report from the administration, and we agreed with the above-mentioned arrangements. In view of the rather technical nature of the task, the administration would like to circulate the paper among members for reporting to us. If you would like to have a discussion at the panel meetings, please inform the Secretariat prior to the 3rd of February, Friday. Otherwise, within this legislative year, the administration will submit the subsidiary legislation to the LegCo, that is in the form of negative vetting. And of course, we can always set up a subcommittee to look at it, but then still, I remind you that it is by way of negative vetting. If you would like to have a briefing before that, please inform the Secretariat before the 3rd of February. And then date of the next meeting, it will be on the 21st of February at 2:30 p.m. Let's have a look of the agenda. 2 items have been proposed. First of all, the Technology Voucher Program and Government Procurement Policy. In other words, the first item on the list of outstanding items for discussion, members from the ITBP will also be invited to join, so it will be a joint panel meeting. The second item is the application of the protocol relating to the Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of marks to the Hong Kong SAR. That is item 2 on the agenda, on the outstanding item list. So please note the 2 items. And then there is also a third item I would like to draw your attention to, and that will be on Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in the Lok Ma Chau Loop. The CIP, the Development Bureau, and the ITBP chairman, including myself, have already decided to hold a joint panel meeting from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on the 6th of March, a Monday, so as to get a briefing from the administration concerning the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in the Lok Ma Chau. The paper has already the notice has already been sent out to members on the 18th of January 2017. Just to remind you that it is quite a complicated issue, and it will have far-reaching effects. Probably there will be many questions. So I would suggest that you may want to reduce your questions into writing, submit them to us so that we can try to get more concrete information for your scrutiny. Fernando Zhang, in this regard, would you agree to the suggestion I'm going to make? After you have received the comments from us and comments from the public, ask the administration to prepare a paper so that on the 6th of March we don't have to waste time to go over the questions again. Ask them to give a preliminary answer to our questions, then we can have further discussion, because 4 hours may not be adequate. Point taken. I'm sure the administration will have its own paper. I have got a 2-page list of questions. I look forward to further information from the administration in response to our questions. This way, we can be facilitated in comprehending the matter. So other than the admin's paper, we can submit our questions. Probably the administration will absorb the points made in our questions. But other than that, we still want to get a dedicated response from the administration. Yes, regarding the Lok Ma Chau group, we have asked for the publication of certain documents. There's already an itemized list. Ask them to look into that and don't wait until the 6th of March. Tanya, can you have a deadline for us to submit our questions so as to give reasonable time to the administration? But it doesn't mean that we are barred from asking further questions at the meeting. And probably on that day, we can divide our discussion into a number of parts, and then that would much facilitate the holding of our meeting. Charles Mock. Yes, I was also about to ask the chair as to whether there is a deadline for submission of questions. And then, can we submit our questions to one of the panels through you or through, and then have it reaching the administration? You have got 2 panels, right? No, 3 panels. As to how the other 2 chairmen are going to deal with it, I'm not sure. But on my part, I would suggest that we deal with it in this way. We'll try to make arrangements, and I expect that since we're busy around the Chinese New Year, so maybe we suggest that we have the middle of next week. I think we don't need to rush, because the joint meeting will be held on the 6th of March. I think we can submit our questions earlier so that they don't have the excuse of not having time. The Secretariat will inform you of the schedule so that you have ample time for the questions and the admin has time for their answers. Item 4 on the agenda, that is PA briefing, policy address briefing. At this moment, I would like to invite the administration's team to join us. For this session, we have the Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs, as well as the Secretary for Innovation and Technology. They're going to give us a brief report concerning their respective portfolios in relation to the policy address.
好啦，咁亦都一如過往嘅慣例啦。
As usual, we'll give the floor to each of the directors of bureau, and then copies of their speech will be given to you. Please be seated. Good afternoon, Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Mr. Greg So, Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Mr. Raymond Tam, Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs, and Mr. Nicholas Young, Secretary for Innovation and Technology, as well as their teams. First of all, I give the floor to Mr. Gregory So, Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development. You'll make a speech, and then you'll be followed by the Secretary for Constitution and Mainland Affairs, and then Secretary for Innovation and Technology. So, Mr. So, thank you, Chair. The paper has already set out the new initiatives and the ongoing initiatives. First of all, I would like to talk about external trade. In July 2014, Hong Kong have been holding negotiations concerning free trade agreements with the ASEAN countries. 9 rounds have been held. Generally speaking, we are entering the final phase. We expect to finish it within the beginning of this year. As to the FTA negotiations with Georgia and Maldives, we started in September 2016. Progress is good. In relation to the investment promotion and protection agreements, 19 have been signed. Other than the IPPA signed with Chile in November 2016, the rest have come into effect. We have also completed our negotiation with Bahrain, Myanmar, and the United Emirates. And the 3 IPPAs will be signed after internal procedures have been completed. And then we have been having IPPA negotiations with Iran, Mexico, and the Russian Federation. We are taking it up actively with India, hoping that we can start negotiation in 2017. We have 12 ETOs with the focus of economic development shifting to Asia. We set up a ETO in Jakarta last year, and then we would like to have an early establishment of an ETO in Seoul so as to enhance our exchange with Korea in commerce, trade, and culture.
In order to further extend our ETO culture, a network, we are going to set up ETO in India, Mexico, Russia, South Africa, and UAE. We will try to find more business opportunities. And now I would like to talk about CEPA. For our country's 13th five-year plan, there will be further development between the two places, and CEPA will be upgraded. And as our government is now talking to the Ministry of Commerce, and we are discussing as to how to further our cooperations in terms of investment, economic technologies, etc. As for promotion of investment, we will continue to encourage more enterprises to come to Hong Kong to expand their business. Last year, we have completed 391 overseas investment projects. Invest Hong Kong will continue to assist mainland enterprises to invest in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong will be used as an ideal platform for going global. And we will continue to promote Hong Kong as a business hub. We will try to encourage more startups to come to Hong Kong. And I would like to now talk about the Economic Development Council. It is led by the CE, and 12 meetings have been held. It has been discussing land supply, China's 13th five-year plan, Hong Kong and Macau dedicated chapter, and Hong Kong 2030 plus, etc. And there are 4 working groups under it. They have been making recommendations concerning the development of 4 sectors. First, convention and exhibition facilities. One of our best industries is convention and exhibition. According to a consultancy report, by 2028, Hong Kong will see a shortage of exhibition area by 130,000 square meters. So we must do a long-term planning. And we have adopted the suggestion of the Working Group on Convention and Exhibition Industry and Tourism under the EDC, and a convention center will be constructed above the exhibition station. The TDC will be doing the design, and also at the earliest by 2019, the government will use the Wan Chai Sports Ground for comprehensive development. Apart from convention exhibition venues, the development proposal will comprise trendy and novel recreational and sports facilities for use by the public. The TDC will conduct a feasibility study on this proposal, and the government will consult the Wan Chai District Council and the stakeholders on this proposal in due course. And also for the support of SME, we will continue to invest in a fund to support SMEs so that they can do better branding, upgrading, and domestic sales. And also, we are seeing that there are more and more emerging economies in Asia and our neighboring areas. So we have launched a professional service investment support scheme in November 2016. We hope to help Hong Kong's enterprises to communicate and cooperate with other markets so as to enhance Hong Kong's professional services level and competitiveness. And also, our government will continue to stage Hong Kong Week on the mainland. TDC will also be promoting design gallery in different cities on the mainland. We will continue to work together with the CID and to assist SMEs, and there are different schemes supporting them. For example, the SME Loan Guarantee Scheme, SME Export Marketing Fund, and SME Development Fund. As regards the special concessionary measures under the SME Financing Guarantee Scheme administered by the Hong Kong Mortgage Corporation Limited, we have extended the application period until the end of February 2019 and reduced the annual guarantee fee rate for the measures by 10% and removed the minimum guarantee fee for the measures. By doing so, we can provide more support to SMEs. The government will continue to review the support measures for SMEs from time to time, ensure that timely and adequate support will be provided to the trade. As for intellectual property, it is very important to protect intellectual property for the future economic development of Hong Kong. One of the important things is to reform Hong Kong's patent system. Now, further to the enactment of Patents Amendment Ordinance 2016, in June 2016, government has been working on an array of preparatory tasks, including drafting subsidiary legislation, etc. So we will enhance our competitiveness. For example, in terms of copyright regime, we will continue to review it, and we will carry out studies. We also adopt an open attitude, and we will try to collect views. As for any new legislative proposal to be introduced, it must take into account views collected in public consultation, balance the needs of different parties, and be in the best overall interest of Hong Kong. And I would like to talk about the Belt and Road Office. Last year, the CE appointed a commissioner for Belt and Road, and the Belt and Road Office was also set up on the 1st of August 2016. After carefully reviewing the operation of the Belt and Road Office and the task ahead for the office under the Belt and Road Initiative, we consider it necessary to allocate additional manpower and resources to the office to ensure that it can take forward the work under the Belt and Road Initiative effectively and on a long-term basis. The central government will host a Belt and Road Forum for international cooperation in Beijing, the highest level forum since the introduction of the Belt and Road Initiative. To highlight its achievements, the Hong Kong SAR government is now preparing to take part in the forum. Chairman, this is my presentation, and I will be glad to answer members' questions. Thank you, Mr. So. Later on, Mr. Raymond Tam and Mr. Nicholas Young will also be making speeches to us. Now, please be succinct when you speak, so that we will have time for discussion. And we hope that we can have more time to ask questions. Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs. Well, Chairman, I'm glad to see you're chairing this meeting. Well, according to your request, well, I have actually submitted my speech in writing, so I'm not going to go into details, and I will hand over the floor to Mr. Nicholas Young, Secretary for Innovation and Technology. Thank you, Chairman. Well, I don't think I can be as efficient as Mr. Tan, but I'll try to be succinct. Well, Chairman, the government is trying its best to promote innovation and technology development. In November 2015, the Innovation and Technology Bureau was set up, and it will drive a number of measures. We will be cooperating with mainland and overseas institutions. We will promote reindustrialization, support startups, and help SMEs upgrade and transform. The CE in this year's policy address put forward a number of measures to promote I&T, and I would like to highlight some of them. The SAR government in early January signed the Memorandum of Understanding of jointly developing the Lok Ma Chau Loop by Hong Kong and Shenzhen with the Shenzhen Municipal People's Government. And we will be cooperating in developing the Lok Ma Chau Loop into a Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park. The park will be developed with IT as the main focus, where a key base for cooperation, scientific research and relevance, higher education, cultural and creative and other complementary facilities will be set up. It has an area of 87 hectares and is 4 times the size of the present science park. It will be the biggest I&T platform in Hong Kong, and it will be integrating Hong Kong and Shenzhen's advantages. It will try to attract a list from the mainland and other countries, as well as research institutions to come here, and we hope that we can pull talents from all over the world. On the 3rd of March, we will be attending a joint panel meeting of the Legislative Council, and then we will be talking in details about the development of this park. The Hong Kong STPC will be building an InnoCell at the Hong Kong Science Park. It will be providing innovative accommodation, cum ancillary offices for rental to eligible tenants and incubatees. It will be providing offices and accommodations for IT people. We hope that we can attract talents to come to Hong Kong in order to support Hong Kong's development in I&T. The Hong Kong STPC is now planning for the program and is also making assessments concerning cost and development, etc. We will continue to talk to the relevant company concerning the financial arrangements, and we will be making application to the LegCo for funding. And also, we will be setting up an InnoSpace at the Hong Kong Productivity Council. It will provide workspace and technical support to enable users to develop their innovative ideas into industrial design, which may subsequently be translated into products through prototyping. And the main target users will be startup entrepreneurs, secondary or university students. It is similar to Makerspace in other countries. Makerspace is quite mature in the US and the UK. Many young talents have been nurtured. InnoSpace will help to promote I&T and reindustrialization, and it will help Hong Kong startups injecting more energy into Hong Kong's I&D development. And also, Hong Kong is promoting reindustrialization. We hope that we can carry out more research in smart manufacturing. We do not need a lot of space for this. In the last legislative year, we have already obtained approval from the Finance Committee for the Phase 1 extension of the Science Park. Also, in Cheung Kwan O Industrial Estate, we will be developing the Advanced Manufacturing Center and the Data Technology Hub. The relevant works have started. It is expected that in 3 years' time, the facilities can be completed, and they will be providing space and facilities for Hong Kong's reindustrialization. In the process of reindustrialization, we will be focusing on the development of certain technologies. They include biotechnology, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and smart city. We will be working with Invest Hong Kong and ETOs and we will try to attract R&D as well as academic institutions to come to Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a huge potential in developing I&T. Many top institutions have come to Hong Kong, and our universities are carrying out a lot of researches. In the last year, we have put forward a number of schemes and funds. In the coming 5 years, these funds and schemes will help to promote Hong Kong's development in I&T. I have confidence. A number of measures are put forward by this year's policy address, and our I&T ecosystem will be enhanced. We will continue to discuss with stakeholders as to how to enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness. We will be providing tax holidays and financial incentives. We will also be putting together policies so as to attract talents to come to Hong Kong. As a result, Hong Kong will become a I&T hub. My presentation ends here, and we are glad to answer members' questions and listen to members' views. Thank you. There are a number of members who are waiting to ask questions. Ma Fong Kwok, Liu Chang Kong, Tanya Chen, Charles Mok, Yu Si Wing, Chen Chen-ying, Chung Kwok-pan, and Yu Chung-yim. Any other member would like to ask questions? Each member will be given 5 minutes, including questions and answers. There may be a second round of questions. Please use your time well. And if you have follow-up questions, please ask them in the second round first. Mr. Ma Fong Kwok. Thank you, Chairman. I have 3 questions. First, about the extension of the Hong Kong Exhibition and Convention Center for the SIL will be completed in 2020, and it is suggested that the convention center be built above the exhibition station. So how much more area will be added to the Hong Kong CEC? Now, by 2028, we will have a serious shortage of exhibition space. So with the extension of the convention center, will this problem be resolved? And how about the Wan Chai Sports Ground? It is suggested that it should be redeveloped by 2019 at the earliest, but can we defer it because we will have a stadium and Kai-Tak, so we hope that we can have Wan Chai Sports Ground in the interim.
喺7月嘅時候，
The paper mentioned that in July last year, you have appointed the head for cultural exchange under the Beijing office. What has been done, and what is the plan for the coming year, and how can the post enhance the support to our artists? And then the third question is about the Lok Ma Chau loop. It is said that innovation technology, higher education, cultural and creative industries will be emphasized. As far as the CCI is concerned, I want to know about the ratio to be taken up. And please tell us how you're going to ensure that CCI enterprises can be located on the site at the Lok Ma Chau loop. Currently, the CCI enterprises and the recreational and sports facilities are being sort of phased out from the industrial buildings, and they are under great pressure. First of all, relocation of the Wan Chai Sports Ground. Mr. So, Mr. Ma talked about the convention center to be built above the exhibition station of the SCL. He would like to know how much space will be made available. As to the accurate figure, I think it's up to the TDC to tell you, because the TDC is currently drawing up the design. But then in 2015, the initial estimate by the government was about 10,000 square meters. By 2028, we will have a shortfall of some 130,000 square meters. But for the convention center to be constructed, it will only produce 10,000 square meters of convention and exhibition space. As to whether we should defer the project? Well, I have to say that the earliest would be 2020 when the exhibition station is commissioned. Then we can start the construction. So it will take time. And we believe that in the course of it, we need to consult the views of the sports sector as well as the convention exhibition sector. As the Secretary for Home Affairs have said at a relevant panel meeting, as far as sports facilities are concerned, the administration has got a number of projects lining up. The One Chai Sports Ground idea is an initial idea. The TDC study will look at the feasibility of the idea. In other words, we need to listen to the views of the relevant sectors. Thank you. Mr. Tam then. As to the post of the head cultural exchange under the Beijing office, it is pitched at the same level as a curator of a museum. The idea came from last year's policy address. The duty is to have cultural exchanges, and there will be more liaison with the relevant artist groups, and then the head would also try to promote Hong Kong among the cities and places covered by Beijing office, and to provide assistance to groups engaged in cultural exchanges. The head gave assistance to the Hong Kong youth group visiting Shenyang, and then the head also chaired over a project covering 100 must-see movies from Hong Kong. So the head would also give support to anybody engaged in cultural exchanges. Ms. Yang, please talk about the ratio of the cultural and creative industries on the Lok Ma Chau Loop. I will give the floor to the Permanent Secretary, but then to give play to the synergy effect, Hong Kong and Shenzhen administrations would like to see CCIs being developed on the Lok Ma Chau Loop site that is related to innovation technology. Mr. Check, innovation technology will be the mainstream. Higher education and CCI will be supplementary in nature. As to the details and the etc. ratios, we have to carry out more studies first. Understood. Mr. Martin Leong, recently we've seen drastic changes all around the world. For the UK, they've started the negotiation about Brexit, and then President Trump has taken office. All such changes will also mean great challenges to Hong Kong. In his inaugural speech, Trump has emphasized giving priority to the USA, buying American goods and also recruiting local workers, and then he's emphasizing the benefits going to the U.S. workers. So they will become more protectionist and they will be more unilateral. For us, our trade, in particular exports and re-exports, certainly will be affected. But the policy address hasn't talked about how we should respond to the new challenges. And then for the SMEs, I'm afraid too little has been said. There are 279 paragraphs, other than paragraph 65 and paragraph 189, where we see the mentioning of the refinement of the MPF as well as the technology voucher scheme. We don't see much else for SMEs. SMEs are faced with the problem of high rentals. So there are new challenges, there are also long-standing problems. Will the administration come up with more initiatives to help the SMEs? Will the budget deliver more for the SMEs other than what we have been getting for the SMEs from the past 4 years? And then another question for Mr. Yang. The last one was for Mr. So. Singapore, India, among other Asian economies, have been actively providing tax incentives for overseas technology enterprises. Therefore, many MNCs have chosen to locate a business there. Singapore, as early as the year 2013, fine-tuned their PIC, Productivity and Innovation Credit Scheme, so as to give momentum to the development of their innovation technology industries. Eligible enterprises were given a dollar against dollar matching incentives or rewards. And in fact, one may even collect as much as 400% of the tax deduction. In order not to fall behind, are you going to consider providing different sorts of tax incentives so as to attract overseas high value adding and high potential innovation technology businesses to come to Hong Kong? Please be brief. Yes, we agree with Mr. Liu in relation to the uncertainties. Say, for example, uncertainty over the interest rate. We'd like to look at the incentives. I'm addressing the problem of the broad atmosphere. Well, we have talked about a number of SME-related initiatives. We'll keep a close eye on it. Regarding the macro environment, we talked about the free trade agreement, the IPPAs. Such measures will help us to have greater certainty. And then it means that we are giving legal backup to our initiatives. The Belt and Road Initiative will provide ample opportunities, and in fact we have got the PASS, which is the Professional Services Advancement Support Scheme. We can help the professional services to tap into new markets. And for our ETOs, we would like to expand our network so as to help our professionals and our industries to open up new markets. We'll be keeping a close watch, and we will provide the necessary assistance that they need. Mr. Yang, anything about the tax incentives for innovation technology? Well, we have a cash rebate scheme as well as the technology voucher scheme. For the cash rebate scheme, it is almost tantamount to 300% in terms of tax deduction. We have heard from the industries that they would like to have further incentives. Perhaps the PS can also supplement. Yes, PS, please give us a brief supplement. Well, the CE, in paragraph 56 of the policy address, it is said that we have to find out ways to enhance our competitiveness. We can consider policy initiatives, including tax incentives. As far as tax incentives are concerned, we will take up the matter together with the FSTB. We have observed, and as Mr. Martin Liu has said, in Singapore, they have this extra tax deduction. This is known to us. We know that in other places, other sorts of tax concessions, royalty concessions, etc., have been offered. We will approach the relevant policy bureaus and have a detailed discussion. Thank you. Next, Tanya Chen. A question for Mr. So. You talked about the convention and exhibition facilities. You said that a consultation study has been completed. I want to know whether this is the one you were referring to, AMR International Limited. We have got an executive summary. I would like to get the full report. I can't find the full report. I can only get the executive summary concerning that report. Is it possible? Well, in 2015, we have submitted an executive summary. This is because we have got 15 pages. There is a lot of information there. As to why we are not providing the full report, this is because a lot of commercially sensitive information is contained, like the extra exhibition space needed, and also the detailed utilization rates. Well, in fact, the information was provided to the consultants by individual event organizers for the purpose of the study. It is not appropriate to provide it to the public. Can you not block out the names so that you give us the aggregate figure? Even after blocking out the information, it will be easy to tell what is involved, and it will involve sensitive information. Can you not sort of give us an aggregate figure? Well, that's why we have got the 15-page executive summary. Chair, this is not the first time that we are given this excuse. When we talked about the XRL, we tried to get information, we were always rejected. You can deposit a copy with the electrical library, and we just read the report without access to any copy, so that we don't take it away, we don't make photocopies. Mr. So, I think the information is very rich, and if you want a summary, that's the summary. No, please don't misunderstand me. You talked about commercial sensitive information. Well, probably the consultant has got a number of itemized information. You can aggregate them so as the total figures, and then in relation to land use information, etc. I think information like that can be disclosed. Chair, if you had read the executive summary, the so-called aggregated information is available. I have read it. I just want to help with resolving the problem. Chair, as I have said, the information has clearly sort of addressed the concerns of members. Maybe members can make a request, and then we can approach the relevant organizations and seek their consent. 3 minutes have been used up just by 2 questions from me. Tanya Chen, please specify the questions that you are interested in. I'm interested in the whole report. To be fair, I want to read the whole report, the full report. I think it's only a fair request. We need to be fair. We need to be fair to the secretary. We need to be fair to the administration. I would like to read the entire report.
係嘛？
I have some other questions. Now, in 2008, the TDC took the initiative, and it said that Phase 3 of Convention Center should be built, and they were trying to use the Wan Chai Sports Ground and the bus terminal. And now they want to use a Wan Chai Sports Ground again. Here I got this report, and there are 15 recommendations here. I'm sure at that time you haven't included the 200,000 square meters of the airport authority. On the 14th of September 2016 is the date. 200,000 square meters were given to AA. That's far more than enough. I can show you this. This is new. Just for $1,000, 200,000 square meters. How come you don't use that lot? The report was made before that. And AWE, they still have 34,000 square meters. And how about the extension of AWE? There will still be 34,000 square meters. When are you going to do that? And before doing that, how come you want to displace the Wan Chai Sports Ground? Chairman, I want the Secretary to have this paper. I think Ms. Tanya Chen has made herself very clear. And she said that the government has the responsibility to give us detailed reports. Now, even though there are commercial sensitive information, they can be redacted, and then you can give the report to us. Well, I have to go back and ask the relevant institution whether they are willing to give you the report. We don't want their information. You can hide those information, and then we just want to know the rest of the report. Well, we have given you a summary. Well, for that 130,000 square meters for AWE, Well, for phase 2 of AWE, the area is about 50,000 square meters. So if you add 50,000 to 10,000, then it's 60,000. How about that 200,000, Secretary? Well, your time is up. Yes, your time is up. Mr. Charles Mock. Thank you, Chairman. For this year's policy address, when it comes to I&T policy, I think the major project will be the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in the Lok Ma Chau Loop. Well, we have been talking about this project for almost 20 years. Well, the industry has been waiting for a long time for this. But there are still a lot of questions to be answered. It's mainly about the construction cost and how it will help the industry. And if it is built, we hope that is value for money. In March, we will have a meeting on this. And I think you are still preparing the relevant information. So I don't think today we can have an in-depth discussion of this. In the policy address, if we look at it from a higher level, I actually think there are some things right. Now, you talk about land and developing residential areas. That's not enough. And you also will be providing tax incentives. I support that. But for tax incentives, it cannot happen overnight, or let me say, tax reform. In the policy address, you put forward a number of measures. Of course, there are new initiatives and there are ongoing initiatives. When it comes to I&T, a lot is still about land supply and building hardwares, but it will take a long time to do all this. Now, when it comes to talent training and nurturing, well, we want to attract international institutions to come to Hong Kong. Well, in other countries, they have adopted measures and policies, including Singapore and Taiwan, to attract overseas I&T institutions. So how can we maintain our attractiveness? And also, how can we encourage our young people to join the I&T industry? Well, I wonder if Mr. Yang and Mr. So would like to answer my questions. Mr. Yang? Thank you for your question. When it comes to talent nurturing, in this year's policy address, in paragraphs, then a number of paragraphs, the promotion of STEM is highlighted. And outside the classroom, we would also be nurturing talents for secondary schools and for tertiary institutions. There are different programs. And Chung Kwan O Industrial Estate, we will be building a data technology hub. This is a clear message for the industry. That is, we will need a lot of talents. So it would not be the government that's doing it alone. As for InnoCell, well, you may say it's a property development. However, we really want to nurture young people by building it. Secretary, can you speak into the microphone, please? We cannot hear you clearly. I'm sorry about that. As for the internship program, we want to encourage university graduates to join the I&T industry. Well, many young people after graduation may choose to join other industries. So for with the internship program, we will be covering incubators and SME tenants, and we want to provide support to university graduates as interns. Mr. Mock asked you, how can you attract international IT companies to come to Hong Kong? Well, the loop would be very attractive, but it's about 7 years away. Well, a lot of people have been calling us up about this. Well, we have to look at things in the long run. Well, for big companies, they would not just look at the coming few years. They would have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. So this will also be very important. Please speak into the microphone. Please try to find the microphone. As for retaining talents, the government lately has been promoting I&T industries. The I&T environment is improving. There are bright futures for these industries, so they would definitely attract young people. As for attracting international companies to come to Hong Kong, in Hong Kong, we have certain advantages. For example, biotechnology, smart city, etc. We are doing quite well in these areas. Now we are preparing a list. We will join hands with Invest Hong Kong and try to attract research institutes to come to Hong Kong. Mr. Yu Siwing. As for Hong Kong's exhibition area, there is a serious shortage. As for the Hong Kong CEC in Wan Chai, well, the booking is always very full. And for the AWE at the airports, there may still be surplus space. However, the space is used for examinations and concerts all the time. Well, many exhibitors think that the venue is too far away. Some of them would rather have the exhibitions in Macau or on the mainland. So it's not just about the competition between our two exhibition centers. We also face competition from Shenzhen, Macau, and Guangzhou. So the Hong Kong CEC has to be extended. However, we must have a better transition. There should be a seamless transition so that schools leasing the Wan Chai sports ground would not be affected. You can't just build an exhibition center and ask all the exhibitors to go there. It's not that easy. I would like to ask a question about paragraph 10 of the paper. It is said that CEPA will be enhanced, and the Hong Kong government is discussing with the mainland about this, and also more business opportunities will be created for Hong Kong's businesses. Well, we have some tourism trials spots on the mainland, and I would like to ask Mr. So, have you summarized the results so far? And for Hong Kong's tour agencies, how are you going to help them? I would ask the Permanent Secretary to answer the question. With regard to CEPA and its measures to help Hong Kong travel agencies, well, we have been doing this for a number of years. Now Hong Kong travel agencies can do their business on the mainland, but this is a relatively new measure, and it will take some time for the industry to explore the mainland markets. We are in close liaison with the industry, and we will look at their experiences on the mainland. We will also talk to the State Tourism Bureau and try to find out more ways to help the tourism industry. Do you have plans for this year? Well, we will have to look at the needs of the industry. And more importantly, we need to look at the actual operation of Hong Kong's tourism industry on the mainland, and then we will talk to the State Tourism Bureau. I have a question for Mr. Yang then. It is about the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park in the Lok Ma Chau Loop. So, of course, it will focus on innovation and technology. But that is a huge site. in the future we will have to tackle different issues. For example, financing, talent attraction, etc. So how are you going to plan all these? Well, these are ancillary measures and we must be prepared. But we will not be developing properties in the Lok Ma Chau loop. We will talk to the planning department as for the detailed breakdown of sites for different industries. But for the ancillary facilities you mentioned, we will definitely develop them. So there will be exhibition centers and will also be hotels, right? Well, there will be accommodations for people working there. Well, because for exchanges, there will be people from different places, so accommodation must be provided. Because we do not want it to be turned into a property development project. So we will try to plan very carefully. I have another question for Mr. So. It's about the office in Taipei. We understand that here you say that you have a Hong Kong Economic Trade and Cultural Office in Taiwan. So how is it different from the tourism office? What's the division of labor? Well, for the SAR government, it has set up a Hong Kong Economic Trade and Cultural Office. It, of course, covers tourism. However, it's also a government contact point. But TDC also has its office there. Taiwan is one of our major sources of visitors. So TDC will be focusing on that. We are also cooperating with the TDC office in a lot of areas. Mr. Chen Chenying, my question is also for the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau, and it's about SMEs. In paragraph 15 of the paper, you mentioned SME financing guarantee scheme, and there are special concessionary measures, and these measures will end at the end of February 2017. So after that, will you conduct a review, or will the scheme just be over? Will there be any continuation? As for SME financing, there are still other schemes. For example, SME loan guarantee scheme. However, it seems that the annual application rate has been dropping. Has the government reviewed this? Why is the number dropping? Why is it not attractive? So for SMEs, does the government think that they have no needs for financing anymore? So that's why you will be doing away with the special concessionary measures? Thank you for your question.
Well, for the SME financing guarantee scheme as well as the SME loan guarantee scheme, there is still quite a substantial demand for such assistance. This will greatly assist with their financial needs. Well, for the loan guarantee scheme, we have the 50% guarantee, but there isn't a fee for that. Both are applied via the banks. For the SME financing guarantee scheme, a guarantee fee is required. As to the special concessionary measures, it's time limited. We would like to ease the burden of the SMEs. We do this all the time. That is when we have a special scheme, and in fact last year during the budget speech, there was the announcement to prolong the duration of the concessionary measures, We'll try to see whether there is still a need for further concessionary measures, and then we will take it forward. Mr. Chen. Second question. Paragraph 20 of the paper, and also page 3 in his speech. The administration talked about the Start Me Up Hong Kong initiative. You would like Hong Kong to become a premier startup destination. Well, we'd like to have tax concessions for aircraft leasing. I did ask this question, but of course it wasn't Mr. So, but it was another director of bureau, and he couldn't give an answer to my question. Now, for enterprises wishing to start a business in Hong Kong, other than providing training locally, but then for the top-notch posts, for the majority of the posts, of course, I will favor local talents being trained and recruited. However, in the policy address in relation to the population policy, there is paragraph 203. The administration has only referred to a talent list, but we haven't got any details as to how we can attract the talents to choose Hong Kong as the destination. Will there be tax incentives or concessions for the talents? What about family members of such talents? I think whether they can get a school place, it will also be important. Will the administration be addressing such concerns as well? Otherwise, it will become empty talk when we try to attract more businesses to be started in Hong Kong. As to the work of Invest Hong Kong, the idea is to have more investment in Hong Kong. They may not necessarily be startups, but of course, in the past, the Invest Hong Kong has done a lot of good work in terms of attracting startups. In overseas countries, they find Start Me Up Hong Kong as an attractive idea. Therefore, every year, the annual growth is rather high. Mr. Chen is right to say that we haven't got enough places at international schools. Invest Hong Kong will also help such businesses.
咁亦都頭先陳議員講到呢一啲可能係樽頸位呢啲嘅設施。
One-stop service will also be provided. When we see the bottlenecks, we will reflect the concern to the relevant bureaus.
賓議員。
Mr. Felix Chung. Mr. So, 2 questions. For the Economic Development Council, you said that a lot of work has been done, but most of the people don't know what has been done by the EDC. Now, we understand that we have got a whole list of reports from the CMAB. What about the work of the EDC? Can you come up with an itemized report? And then 19 IPPAs have been signed. But the majority of the commercial sector is not aware of the IPPAs signed with the 20 economies. Can you not sort of give us more information so that we know where to go for our investment? Mr. Tam. In July 2016, you have created the post called Head Cultural Exchange under the Beijing office for the Hong Kong Palace Museum to be built on West Kowloon Cultural District. Did the Head Cultural Exchange take part in the discussion? Mr. Tam. 9 agreements have been signed with the mainland. One of them has attracted my attention, and that's in relation to the cooperation agreement between Guangdong and Hong Kong on exchanges on medical and health services. What is it about? For the reform of the Hong Kong Medical Council, there were worries that perhaps mainland medical and health professionals will come to Hong Kong to practice. So please elaborate. Mr. Tam first. My understanding is that the Head Cultural Exchange didn't take part in the negotiations that you referred to. And then under the Hong Kong-Guangdong Cooperation Framework. I think the agreements signed have been referred to the LegCo for your reference. I'll try to go back to check whether that has been done. For the cooperation agreement or cooperation arrangement between Guangdong and Hong Kong on exchanges on medical and health services is mainly about exchanges between the professionals. In relation to our professional autonomy, it will not be affected, but I will go back to check and then we'll give an account to Mr. Chung. Again, Secretary, can you not show us copies of such agreements? I think they are in the public domain. I'm sure we have already included such in the press releases. They must have been given to the LegCo, but I'm sure we can give the reference numbers to your clerk. Mr. So, the work of the EDC. Well, we do have a lot of publicity materials on the internet with videos, etc. I'm happy to refer the matter to you again. I'm sure Mr. Chung is concerned about the developments in the fashion industry. I'll try to compile a summary for the sake of Mr. Chung. Now, as to the IPPAs, indeed, we need to enhance the publicity of the investment promotion and protection agreements. With the IPPAs in place, it means that our investors can go to invest in the IPPA countries, and then the investments will be given legal protection. That's why we have been eager to negotiate for and conclude such IPPA agreements. I'll go back to see if we can gather together a set of the IPPAs for the reference of Mr. Chung. Mr. So, is the information available on the internet? I'm not sure whether it is available, but yes, I've been told that it is available on our website. Yes, please at least give us the links so that we can get an idea by reading the copy of the text. Mr. Chung, I think I still have time left. In the paper, it is said that Hong Kong should become a premier startup destination. Do you have evidence to prove that Hong Kong can really become the premier startup destination? Well, Secretary, well, the year before last, there was a report, and we have 1,558 startups. There were 1,926 last year. From such figures, you can see that as far as the ecosystem for the startups, it is very favorable. I can recall that for foreign startups, there are 600 of them. So both local startups and overseas startups, foreign startups, they find Hong Kong a favorable place. Next, Mr. Yu, questions for two policy bureaus. Page 6 of the paper refers to the list of consultants in Qianhai. Please tell us more about the activities in the past 6 months. And then I would also like to ask the CEDB, in paragraph 30 of your paper, you talk about the $200 million Professional Services Advancement Support Scheme. It was introduced in November 2016. Can you tell us more about it? The application deadline will be the 28th of February. How is the feedback? Mr. So, let me take the question first. For the Professional Services Advancement Support Scheme, usually we have a deadline for application. Usually it's closer to the deadline, then we get more applications. So the existing number doesn't quite reflect the popularity of the scheme. But I'm sure Mr. Wong can give you an answer. Thank you, member, for your question. The scheme was launched in November. And then for stage 1, application will close on the 28th of February. Briefing sessions have been held for 23 representatives and 69 representatives at 2 briefing sessions respectively, so they are aware of the application procedures. We hope that more will come forward before the deadline at the end of February. There will be 4 tranches of applications. This is the first one. Yes, Mr. Tam. Regarding the case of Qianhai, we will liaise with the Development Bureau and then we can update you on the progress. So we'll give the information to the secretaries ASAP. Mr. Yu, for the development in Qianhai, will there be further developments? Mr. Tam, we've just launched the professional services within the framework of Hong Kong-Guangdong cooperation. We will take it further. Currently, as far as the opening up of the professional services, I think the status is as that depicted in the paper, but I will get more information from the Development Bureau. You still have time, Mr. Yu. What about the CEDB? Do you have any good suggestions? So that the professionals can come forward and launch applications? I think it's a good idea. Well, let's look at the uncertainties in the American market. I think the Asian Pacific market is still in growth opportunities. I think we can still benefit from favorable import and export figures. Therefore, I believe that there is a demand for professional services, in particular along the Belt and Road countries. Any other officials wishing to supplement? Mr. Yu, any follow-up? Yes, you talked about exchange cooperation and promotional activities. Can you elaborate on it so that I can alert the professionals and then they can tell what applications they can launch? Mr. Wang, excuse me. Conferences, roadshows, or promotional activities. Professionals can also have exchange activities. We can have enhancement of professional standards, workshops, expert talks, or studies, like the potential for development in various markets outside of Hong Kong, and also international standards. And we can study on how international standards are to be complied with. So unlike before, it is not a dollar against dollar subsidy. We'll be giving a 90% subsidy. The relevant professional organization will come up with 10% of the funding, so they can make good use of the funding available.
Dr. Fernando Zhang. Thank you, Chairman. Well, for Mr. Tam's speech, you talked about the 13th five-year plan, and there is a dedicated chapter for Hong Kong and Macau. Now, for the 13th five-year plan, Hong Kong is positioned as an economic center, international financial center. We also talked about the development of Shanghai, Nansha, Hengqin, and also there will be Hong Kong-Fujian cooperation. And you have also signed a lot of agreements with different parties. I understand that Mrs. Carrie Lam, on behalf of Hong Kong, signed the Memorandum of Understanding of jointly developing the Lok Ma Chau Loop by Hong Kong and Shenzhen. So it shows that Hong Kong's economic development is closely linked with China. So other than foreign policies and national defense, Hong Kong has its autonomy in other areas. We have our own laws. We are autonomous in all the other areas. However, there are a lot of problems. We are one country. We have to work in accordance with the country's economic developments. On the other hand, we also have to look at Hong Kong people's interests and how can we ensure that Hong Kong will continue to prosper. Now, there are many agreements, and this would involve the construction of infrastructure by us, and we will have to develop lands in order to carry out cooperations with the mainland. Well, this may be against the will of Hong Kong people. For example, maybe we want to keep some land for agricultural development. And also when we are building the infrastructures, a lot of local residents' livelihood may be affected. So while you signed these agreements, we didn't know about them. Well, for example, for the MOU on Lok Ma Chau Loop, initially you said that it was for education, and now you have turned it into an innovation and technology park. So these things are not transparent. We really don't know what these MOUs and agreements are about. Are they for the development of the mainland, or are they for Hong Kong people? So this is one of the reasons why there are a lot of conflicts between Hong Kong and the mainland. But this has been the approach of the policy address. It attaches a lot of importance to one country instead of two systems. I think at least you need to improve your transparency. So for the bureaus here, in the future, you will be carrying out all this work. Now, let me cite the Lok Ma Chau Loop as an example. The procedure was totally untransparent. You signed the MOU and then you told us you did it. So how can you improve the transparency? At least you should let Hong Kong people know what you are doing. Now we are talking about three bureaus: Commerce and Economic Development, Constitution and Mainland Affairs, and Innovation and Technology. So how can you enhance your transparency? How can you involve more Hong Kong people? Otherwise, Hong Kong people would think that you are just working for the interests of the mainland, not for the interests of Hong Kong people. Well, Mr. Tam, is about the relationship between Hong Kong and the mainland. Well, every time when we after we discuss with the mainland authorities, we will be reporting to the relevant electrical panels. So maybe Dr. Cheung can look more at those. Now, we are cooperating with the mainland, but it is built on one country, two systems. We have a different system from that of the mainland. However, different systems can exchange and cooperate. When it comes to CEPA, every time they would collect views from the relevant sectors in Hong Kong, and then they will negotiate with their mainland counterparts. I'm not saying that you should tell us after you sign a certain agreement. How about before that? Because originally you told us that Lok Ma Chau Loop was mainly for educational purposes, but after signing the MOU, it's totally different. Mr. Yang? Well, for Mr. Cheng's question, in 2008, June and July, we talked about the future land use of the loop, and there was a public consultation. We collected a lot of views. It just said that we should focus on tertiary education, INT, and innovation. So it's not just about education. There are three major focuses. And for the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park MOU, well, it will be a base for R&D, but there will also be higher education, cultural and creative, and other complementary facilities. It will be a training platform. So there are a number of facilities facilities in that area, and it will attract high-quality graduates. Now, when we discuss with the Shenzhen authorities, we focus on three things. First of all, the land title belongs to Hong Kong, so this is now a Hong Kong site. Originally, it wasn't. And for the cooperation project, everything will be done in accordance with Hong Kong laws and system. And also in the MOU, it is stated that the profits gained will be used for the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park. So when we do this, we bear the interest of Hong Kong people in mind, and everything is complementary. Mr. Lau Kwok-fan. Well, we lack land in Hong Kong, and when the anti-Northwest is developed, there are a lot of disputes. I discover that in Hong Kong, there are certain industries that have made a name overseas. And now the Hong Kong government focuses on innovation and technology. So the government will provide support to the I&T development. Now, when Hong Kong develops new towns and new areas, you need to provide transport. Now, at Lien Tong and Loop, you will be building Innovation and Technology Park and other industrial parks. And before the Loop, we have been hearing a lot about Lien Tong. So will these two projects be carried out at the same time? For Science Park, it has phases 1, 2, 3, and it can meet the needs of the industry up to 2018. And after that, we will have an extension, and the extension will be completed by 2021. The Lok Ma Chau Loop is a flat site. It's very easy for development. So we will be developing it in the medium term. As for Lien Tong and Hung Yuen Wai, it will take a longer time because we will have to resume land and residents there would have to be relocated. So we are talking about 3 time frames: short, medium, and long-term developments. But how about support for industries? Well, there are not many sites in Hong Kong. Maybe my colleague can supplement later. Well, we will promote reindustrializations. We will support reindustrialization. As for Lien Tong and Hung Yuen Wai is more suitable for developing industrial estates. Maybe the commissioner can answer your question. Well, for hardware, we have industrial estates, and there are still more than 10 hectares available. In the future, we will also be building an advanced manufacturing center. So we will be renting out spaces to advanced manufacturers, which do not need a large area. As for Lien Tong, is more suitable for developing industrial estates. So its positioning is a bit different from that of the Loop. The Loop will be mainly used for innovation and technologies. So it would be similar to the Science Park in Tai Po. So one is for R&D and the other is for industrial development. But these are long-term plans. We are now doing the planning and preparation. I want to see an overall plan because for these two projects, they are in the North District. So you have to provide public transport and ancillary facilities. So that's why I want to see a comprehensive plan. Well, because you also want the support of district councils. Yes, we agree. Ms. Anchang. Just now, Mr. Lau Kwok Fun made a very good point. Now you will be building an INT park in the Loop, and there will be 40,000 people working there. Well, some of them may come from the mainland, and some may come from other countries. They may choose to live in Hong Kong. So when it comes to housing and traffic, you have to provide adequate facilities to these people. Just now we also talked about talent nurturing. Now if you look at our 8 universities, each year there are only about 2,000 science graduates. Even though they all join the INT industry, in 10 years' time, you only have 20,000 people. So I think you should talk to UGC as early as possible because they have the responsibility to tell the universities what Hong Kong needs. These universities should be training talents for Hong Kong's economic development. You should talk to UGC as soon as possible. Now for the INT park, there may be new inventions and products. So such products will be sold to the mainland. Would such products be taxed, or would they enjoy the CEPA privileges? Well, I understand that the Loop is not a manufacturing center. However, it may come up with new products and a small scale of production. So how about the tax arrangement? I agree with Ms. Cheung. I have made some calculation for the Asian University. Each year they would train 6,000 students in science subjects, not 2,000. But still, I agree with Ms. Cheung.
Maybe Ms. Choi can also supplement regarding the point made by Dr. N. Zhang as to the products to be produced on the Lok Ma Chau Loop. Well, in fact, it is land belonging to Hong Kong, so our systems will apply. All the initiatives and policies under CEPA will apply. It is part of Hong Kong. Well, for land along the boundary or land between the two places, perhaps we can talk about a special kind of tax. I think you can try to fight for that so as to boost the attractiveness. Try to see if you can get it tax-free. Well, I'm the chair of the education panel, so you dare to challenge my figures. For 2015-16, for the 8 UGC institutions altogether, 2,768 graduates graduated in the science streams, and 2,701 for the year 2016-17. The figures came from the UGC. Yes, your figures are correct, but then I was referring to STEM. STEM includes science as well. STEM science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Sorry, I tried to broaden the scope. So we are not talking about the same thing. I talked about science and you talked about STEM. Sorry about that. I really hope that you will make sure that you have this fighting spirit all the time when you develop the innovation technology industries on Not Ma Chao Loop. Mr. Wong, we didn't have so many directors of bureaus with us at other panel meetings. We need economic development, otherwise we can't have improvements in our livelihood. Today we have got 3 directors of bureaus here. I think for the policy address this year, we have got a lot of mentioning of economic development. We need to attract overseas investment. We need to attract talents to come to Hong Kong. There's one thing that I want to bring up, and I don't think that our locals would be of a lower quality than those from outside. In the past, we missed many opportunities. For Da Jiang, in fact, it was a Hong Kong student. He went back to Shenzhen to start his business. And for the world market for drones, 80% belonged to Da Jiang. In the past, had we been able to give him the facility to start his business, then it would have been wonderful and it would have been a sort of icon for Hong Kong. Now we need to mend the pen, and it won't be too late. In relation to that, we missed a golden opportunity. From now on, how are you going to make good what has been lost? Other than Mr. So, Mr. Tam, and Mr. Yang, who are here, I believe that, in fact, the administration should also work like a machine so that all the departments, all the bureaus will play a part in an integrated manner. In the past, when we would like to start our businesses, well, in fact, it is heartbreaking to mention another example, and that's Alibaba. Now we have got the 3 secretaries here. So what are you going to do to remedy the situation so as to benefit Hong Kong as a whole, in particular our future generations? So, Mr. Yang, Mr. So, Mr. Tam. Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your reminder. We do agree with you, but it is a matter of making remedies. Professor Li Zetao was the professor of Jiangtao, and he has told us that there are many excellent talents. But then we need to resolve the problem of land shortage and also the support of other resources. Therefore, we need to increase land supply for the sake of reindustrialization. For the Innovation and Technology Bureau, we would like to enhance our ecosystem for INT. And then for international competition and availability of funding, we are working on that. Well, for Professor Li Zexiang and Professor Chen, one from Hong Kong U, the other from Hong Kong UST, and recently they have taken part in the Hong Kong X platform, and that's from the Sequoia, and I know that many outstanding students are already taking the opportunity afforded by that platform. In the coming 3 to 5 years' time, we believe that some results can be obtained. $300 million are being made available by that fund. Well, they made billions of dollars from Dajiang, so they are happy to sort of plow back the money in Hong Kong so as to nurture our new generation of talents. Mr. So, Mr. Yang has already given a reply in terms of INT. We also need to commercialize our research for our sustainable development. Hong Kong is a free economy, so other than our INT projects, we can also make use of IP trading and then we can also provide a better funding environment to attract startups from overseas, and we can also enlarge the pie to benefit other sectors as well. So we are glad to see that many are sort of regarding this trend as the future for our development. Mr. Tam, for talents coming to Hong Kong to work, usually they complain about the bad air quality and also the lack of international school places. In recent years, the Hong Kong government has done a lot to make improvements. So you can see that foreign talents and foreign businesses establishing themselves in Hong Kong have increased in number. Of course, my bureau is the CMAB. We will make good use of one country, two systems. We need to enhance our systems. Freedom, rule of law, and other institutional advantages should also be enhanced. And in fact, this is why international organizations find Hong Kong attractive as a headquarters for their business and a place where we have international talents. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. Thank you, Chair. For this meeting of the CIP, we have got 3 directors of bureaus. It illustrates one point. To drive our economic development, we need the teamwork. We need innovation technology. We need to make good use of the business opportunities in the mainland market, as well as the business opportunities arising from the Belt and Road Initiative. When we talk about innovation and technology, 2 other bureaus should be present, one being the Development Bureau, the other being the Education Bureau. Well, just now a number of members have mentioned that it's for us to promote INT, we need to encourage the younger generation to emphasize STEM. The learning of STEM is very, very important. The reality is that for secondary school students to take physics and other science subjects, the number is decreasing. We need to find ways to make sure that they are interested in a career in science and technology, as well as engineering. In the policy address, the CEO also mentioned about STEM education. I want to know what will be done in the short term. And then I also mentioned the Development Bureau. This is because for the Lok Ma Chau Loop, it is still at a very initial stage. Other than talents that I mentioned, and we need to nurture the talents. And then for the planning of the loop, as well as the engineering, as well as the infrastructural support, it took us 20 years for the science park to take its mature shape. So for Lok Ma Chau Loop, it will take a long time. Currently, we haven't got any specific idea about the ambitious plan. So perhaps the Secretary can tell us more about the plan. Mr. Yang, thank you, Dr. Low, for your question. On the 6th of March, we are going to have a more detailed briefing on the Lok Ma Chau Loop site. So we cannot sort of spend too much time on this topic here. As to how to get more people to study STEM subjects, I think ultimately it isn't a question of education, it's a question of the cultural mindset. If people are interested in STEM, if people have hopes in such a STEM career, then it will be different. I think in recent years, many people have got a more progressive idea about STEM. We need to come up with a favorable atmosphere for INT. For the Lok Ma Chau Loop, it is a cooperation item. I'm sure the progress will be quicker than that for Science Park. And then for Science Park, it was the first ever project, and we might be lacking in experience. So the Science Park was the first one in Hong Kong, emphasizing INT. Dr. Low has also said that we had 10 to 20 years experience. Now, the Lok Ma Chau Loop has been formed, and with the assistance of Shenzhen, I believe that the pace will be quicker. Follow up, I also look forward to the early decision about the plans for Lok Ma Chau Loop. Please give us an idea about the initial planning so that we know about the scale and we can look at the phasing of the infrastructural projects. I understand that there will be more information available. Yes, as the Secretary said, there is a joint meeting on the 6th of March. For the benefit of members who came late, the crowd would like to know what questions you have got. Alert us early so that the Bureau can give a sort of response. Now, many members would like to ask questions in the first round. We haven't got time for the second round. Can we extend the meeting by 15 minutes? Next, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Mr. Yang, before you became the Director of Bureau, I met with you many times because you tried to tell me what you would do as the Secretary for Innovation Technology. Where were you when the announcement was made concerning Lok Ma Chau Loop? You were on leave? Well, in fact, Carrie Lam went up there to get the credit, and you were not to be seen. Now, for Lok Ma Chau Loop, it is a replica of the Science Park. The Science Park has been given as a gift to the CY fans like Fanny Law. And what about the role of the ITB? Let me state my question once again. Fanny Law will be having a free hand with the Science Park, and then she's going to get more floor area, and there will be more housing. Now, for the Lok Ma Chau Loop, it is a very major issue. I won't say that it is unprecedented for 100 years, but it has never been done before. That is, the land has been given back to us. They will come here, and then they will follow our systems.
This is such an important project. How come you were away when they signed the MOU? Well, you are right. STEM is a culture, but for science, you should seek truth. I have read a novel, 1984. It says that if 2 plus 2 is 4, if it is right, then everything else is just reasonable. I don't know what the government is doing. Oh, you should be responsible for this, but you were on leave. Well, I won't blame you because nobody notified you. They just asked you to disregard your responsibility. And then she went to the mainland alone to sign the MOU. And she took along with her the head of the science park. But you are the Secretary for Innovation and Technology. You should be the commander. And Fanny Law is just a guerrilla member. You should be a formal soldier. So what is the culture of science? You should be seeking the truth. 2 plus 2 should be 4. It should not be 5, even if it's set by Carrie Lam. So for scientific theories, they would always be true. So, Secretary, I really respect you. When you are promoted, your bureau, you really worked hard. But why were you absent at the MOU signing ceremony? Thank you for your question. I was in the U.S. visiting my mom. She's 85. She suffers from Parkinson's disease. She's 85. She fell and she broke her hip. I visit her once every 2 years. This is the first time I take a long leave after I took up the post of secretary. So this is a regular leave. Carrie Lam should know. So when you took your leave, did you know that she was going to sign the MOU? Well, so you can change the date of your leave because your mom was not in critical situation. Well, I visit my mom every 2 years. Well, for the Loop project, Mrs. Carrie Lam asked me to head it, and I spent 2 months on it, and we got a breakthrough. Well, when I first did it, I didn't know that there could be a breakthrough within 2 months. So after the breakthrough, I and my team understood the situation very well. Well, there are a lot of reasons that I may be absent. Maybe I'm sick. I still have my team there. So what you mean is that Carrie Lam didn't tell you. So you're right that you were talking about filial piety. You should visit your mom, but I think that's a very serious problem with your supervisor. Well, this is a legislative council, and so members may be absent for no reasons. So shouldn't we have a leave system in the legislative council? A member says that secretaries need to do that, so maybe legislators should also consider having such a system. Well, Chairman, I have some questions. Well, a joint working group on CIPA has been formed. It's been discussing with the mainland authorities on the implementation of CIPA. CIPA has been in place for more than 10 years. So will CIPA continue after the present term of government ends? And will this be regularized? Well, issues may happen all the time. So if CIPA is regularized, it would be great. Now, lately, we have been making a lot of proposals to the government concerning R&D, including tax incentives. We hope that the government can accept our suggestion, that is, by reducing the tax for 200 or 300%. In the policy address in paragraphs 15 and 16, the CE says that he's considering the provision of tax incentives to attract INT companies. So I think a tax rebate of 200 or 300% is very attractive. A lot of places are doing this. So before the 30th of June, can this be realized? Other than developing the Innovation and Technology Park, does the government have any concrete plans to promote INT? I think the government should look at the needs of investors, and investors would surely support the development of INT. Mr. Yang? Well, maybe Mr. Lam is late. Just now, our permanent secretary has been talking about measures. and we are talking to the FSTB about tax incentives. If you need detailed information later on, we can provide them to you, because we've been talking about it earlier on. And we are now considering a 300% cash rebate. So when it comes to tax holidays, we are very serious about it. As to whether things can be implemented before the 30th of June, we will have to discuss with the FSTB first. As for the CB Joint Committee, is set up a few years ago and is to follow up on the implementation of CIPA. This is a very effective organization, and we've heard from the industries that it's been very helpful, because when they do their business in different areas of the mainland, this mechanism would help. I don't know whether the government of the next term will continue with the present mechanism, but I'm sure it's very efficient. And other than that, we also have constant liaison with officials of the Ministry of Commerce. So together we will try to find out solutions for problems. Well, for regularization, Secretary, if you will be Secretary again in the next term, I really hope it can be regularized. I think regularization of the mechanism is very important. As for tax rebates, we have been proposing a tax rebate of 300%. I hope this also can be implemented as soon as possible. Yes, it's my turn to ask questions. Mr. So, about the extension of the Hong Kong CEC, well, there is a shortfall of 130,000 square meters. Is the present situation. Well, Wan Chai Sports Grounds is another issue. However, at the moment, we already have AWE. And next to it, there is a website planned for convention and exhibition use. So why don't you use that site to develop convention and exhibition venues immediately? And also for TDC and New World, they have signed a non-competition agreement. So in the vicinity of the Hong Kong CEC, any convention exhibition venue development would have to be done by the New World. So now you are asking TDC to do the design. So New World will be the operator of this CEC extension, right? Well, we are talking about 2028 peak seasons, and by then there will be a shortfall of 130,000 square meters. But it's equally valid. We already have a site that's ready. Why don't you use it? As for AWE Phase 2, we will have to look at the actual needs there. Some members said just now that some exhibitors would not want to use AWE. However, after the commissioning of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, the demand at AWE may increase. Well, Mr. Chen cited some figures. You mentioned 35,000, but for me it's 50,000. That is about Phase 2. That is AWE Phase 2. So for 130,000 square meters, we still cannot fill that gap. So we are now looking at AWE Phase 2. If you look at the consultancy report, it's about the whole situation. In February 2015, the Permanent Secretary also explained to the panel about possible locations. How about the no competition agreement? Well, now we are inviting TDC to do a feasibility study. We are not asking TDC to build the new CEC in the future. So is there a no competition agreement? Yes, it does exist. So will it affect our future choice of operator? I think it's an arrangement between the operator and the management. I have a question for Mr. Young. In paragraph 56 of the policy address, it is said that we should enhance our overall competitiveness and tax incentives should be provided. You also mentioned this in your paper. So how are you going to do this? So through tax incentives, you will encourage industries to come back to Hong Kong so that you can do your reindustrialization. Well, we want to attract high-tech and high-value-added industries to come to Hong Kong. As for industries coming back to Hong Kong, we do not want labor incentive industries to be in Hong Kong, because in Hong Kong we have a limited supply of land and labor. We want to give Hong Kong young people an opportunity to go climb up the social ladder. As for tax incentives, this is the first time we officially say that the government will consider using tax incentives to attract high value-added industries to come to Hong Kong. As to the exact implementation, we still have to discuss more. Well, you will put together a list and attract some industries to come to Hong Kong. Well, we already have a list, but how did you draw up the list? Well, it's a list of high value-added industries. Let me cite an example. MIT. Well, Facebook comes from Harvard, but MIT has certain industries that may fit Hong Kong. We would look at is world ranking and whether a certain school has nurtured talents for innovation and creative industry. So can you give us your criteria for drawing up the list? Yes.
時間咁我哋有
We have 15 minutes more. 4 members would like, or in fact 3 members would like to ask follow-up questions in the second round. 3 minutes each. Chairman, don't be deceived by the Secretary. In year 2003, on the 31st of January, there were invitations to invest in AWE. And in year 2009, I asked Rita Lau. I'm reading out the Chinese version. In relation to phase 3 of the Hong Kong CEC, 3 conditions should apply. First of all, despite the completion of AWE, there will still be shortage of supply of exhibition and conference space. Second, benefits for Hong Kong. Now, today, AWE hasn't yet been fully developed. Now, you are saying that in 2019, you would like to take away the Wan Chai Sports Ground. And then, in the year 1993-94, we have this FC paper from that year. When I was a member for the term 2008 to 12, I got this paper. I've been following this up for 8-9 years. I can say with certainty that it is a matter of resurrecting the plan. For the space above the exhibition station. You get TDC to study the matter. And for Wan Chai Sports Ground, again, you're asking TDC to study the feasibility. Isn't there anybody else? Does it mean that you don't want to call it Hong Kong CEC Phase 3, but in fact you are trying to give it to TDC? If you give it to TDC, but according to this no competition clause, there is a 40-year contractual period, and then 10 years, another 10 years, another 10 years, so it will be until eternity. Back in 1993-94, Queen's Council's advice was provided that it's for TDC to continue with convention and exhibition facilities. Well, the New World will be sort of given the offer. Otherwise, the government will be taken to court. I'm going to give you a clean copy. My copy has been marked. So I want to know whether TDC is going to get Phase 3 of Hong Kong CEC without doubt. Give me more time to elaborate on this. I'm glad to get this paper from Ms. Chen. I read the paper, but I think this is about the land lease for the Hong Kong AA. Now, Ms. Chen talked about the gross area. For the gross area is 200,000. You know that it will be 50 to 70% in relation to the available floor area. So that's about the AWE. So for the paper you submitted, we can't have double counting. No, don't confuse us. This is Chek Lap Kok. This is for Chek Lap Kok Sky City. Give me the opportunity to explain. Now it will be 50 to 80%. For the AWE, for the floor area available for exhibition, is 66,000, 70,000 being available for hire. And then Ms. Chen talked about 35,000, 34,000. Well, that means the total will be 110 to 120,000. That's the net floor area. We mustn't have double counting. So therefore, we still have a dire need to have more space. Sorry, Chair. He's putting words in my mouth. So it's a matter of double counting. He's putting words in my mouth. No, I'm not. I'm telling you the objective facts. Stop, please, Secretary. Secretary, please pause here. Chair, I have to clarify, just a quick one. I'll get my colleague to get the former lease. It is about the convention and exhibition use. It was absent in the old lease. We are talking about the Sky City because it's the updated one on the 14th of September 2016. I'm just taking an initiative view. I think we're talking about the airport site, but then we're talking about the land, or rather the floor space available within AWE. I think in future we can have a better look of the document together with Ms. Chen. Mr. So, Ms. Chen asked many questions, like no competition clause. Is the TDC going to get it with great certainty? Well, I think we can have an explanation face to face. Next, Mr. Yu. Sorry, Charles Walk. Sorry about that. You first. Chair, I think time is running out. I think many members talked about attraction of talents. So they had questions for Mr. Yang. Let me supplement. When Mr. Yang gave answers, he referred to STEM as well as the initiatives mentioned in the policy address. Now, Secretary, you know that it is important. I agree with what you said, and I very much hope that if you can try to put in more work and if you can coordinate the work of other bureaus, then you will be best. Just now, you talk about STEM education. You said that in the latest policy address, Now we have $200,000 for each secondary school. Well, to be frank, it isn't anything new. It is an ongoing initiative. 2 days ago, I asked a question at an education panel meeting. The secretary couldn't give any new initiatives. It is not that we are short of ideas. And then for Professor Xi, he blamed it on DSE. So, Mr. Yang, maybe we should give the portfolio to you so that you can right the wrong. Unfortunately, it has gone to some other policy bureaus. For the Continuing Education Fund, the other day I asked the Labor and Welfare Bureau. They said that they would review it. I asked whether the $10,000 limit could be enhanced. The government will provide another $1.5 billion. There's no end to the reviews after reviews. Anything that has to do with talents, why don't we have them all housed under your portfolio, and then there will be more confidence. I think there are things that you can do on your own. I think the PSP is going to look at the question of the tea contracts. I think we need to rush over there, otherwise they lack a quorum. Now, it seems that departments and bureaus don't have conversation with each other, or you are not united, you don't have a common goal. Now that the ITB has been set up, you take the lead or you advise other departments and bureaus so that everybody set eyes on the same goal. We can't blame you for talents because it's within the Education Bureau. Can you find a way to make sure that other directors of bureaus can cooperate with you? Well, the deputy chair has just come back. Well, can I ask for 10 more minutes? Well, no. Can I just have a break? Secretary, probably you have to give a reply in writing. 3 minutes. Well, for the Wan Chai Sports Ground, well, the economic development of Hong Kong will rely on the Wan Chai Sports Ground, and at the same time we need to strike a balance in relation to our need for recreational facilities. For Wan Chai, I think we need more convention and exhibition facilities. As to the sports facilities, maybe the HAB should also take a careful consideration. We shouldn't have gaps. Ms. Tanya Chen talked about a new point because she's wondering whether we really need that much exhibition space. She has produced certain documents. I'm interested in that. Now I've got 2 minutes, so 1 minute each. Ms. Chen, I give you 1 minute so that you can have your floor for your question. Well, to be fair, I will give you the original. We have this modification letter. I'm making a copy of the original list. Don't jump to the conclusion that we are in the wrong. Well, Chair, as I have said, I formed an initial view. Yes, there was a piece of land, and then it has been carved out, and then this is the modification exactly. Take my word. I will show you the original. The two of you, please don't have a dialogue among yourselves. Well, it is important. Now, this is an initial proposal only in relation to Wan Chai Sports Ground. As we have said, the HAB and other stakeholders will have a consultation exercise. We'll also consult the business sector. But then, the policy address has said that the earliest will be 2019 that we're going to have trendy and novel recreational facilities. Pause here. There are two separate issues. Many questions have been asked. It isn't just something between you and the Director of Bureau. Other members will be interested. So I'll ask our clerk to collate the information in your questions and ask the Bureau to come up with a written reply. For the ultimate fate of the Wan Chai Sports Ground, the Director said it is not for him to have a final say. Others will be having a role as well. You have taken 1 minute from me. No. ITB. River Loop. How are you going to attract talents? First of all, I have received some telephone calls from multinational corporations. They are very keen. They like the systems in Hong Kong, and they also want to be very near to Shenzhen. So it will be an advantage. Moreover, if we are able to have a cluster of large businesses on the Lok Ma Chau Loop site, it will be conducive to attracting talents. Of course, more details will be available on the 6th of March. All right, the last to speak, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong. Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Ms. Chen, for providing the papers. I haven't seen them, so Chair, can you ask Ms. Chen to give us a copy as well? Make copies of your papers. And then for AWE, in recent years, I think they have very brisk business. The utilization rate has almost reached the capacity. But then as far as the location of AWE is concerned, it is not comparable to Hong Kong CEC in Wan Chai. For local as well as overseas participants, they have very different ideas about the functions of AWE and the Hong Kong CEC in Wan Chai. So the Hong Kong CEE should be expanded. It is urgent. Now for 2019 being the date given in the policy address, even if we are to start work right here and now, can we really get it in 2019 and relocate Wan Chai sports ground? I think just the design as well as the initial phase of the work, it will take 3, 5, 7 years at least. We need to take the first step forward, but then we mustn't hesitate. We can't afford to wait until it is too late. Therefore, we need to do long-term planning. As far as the administration is concerned, I hope the government can be proactive. I don't think we should procrastinate. For the long-term development of our economy, we need to have visions. And then I want to talk about the TDC. For our industries, we have a lot of respect for the TDC. And in fact, the TDC has played a very significant role. For SMEs, we rely very much on the support given by the TDC.
Now we have Hong Kong CEC. Well, originally you just had the old wing, now there's a new wing. TDC has been managing the Hong Kong CEC very well. We are very satisfied. And also, I don't know how the cooperation between TDC and New World is. Well, no matter whom TDC is cooperating with, we think that TDC provides very good services at a good price. Well, Ms. Chen queried as to whether TDC will definitely be given the right to operate the future CEC. I don't care about that. I just want to tell you that the industry really supports the work of TDC. Well, our meeting would end here, so Mr. Wong just gave you his opinion, and time is up, so there's no AOB. Well, our clerk will give you some follow-up questions. We hope that you can give us answers as soon as possible, that is before the next meeting. And also, we will be asking members to write down questions for you concerning the loop. Well, on the 6th of March, we will have the meeting on the loop. So if we give the questions to you 2 weeks before that date, would you have enough time to answer the questions? Chairman, it should be okay. Because, well, we need to submit the paper to you 1 week before the meeting. So we will just have 1 week left. No, I give you 2 weeks to answer the questions. Okay, thank you. The meeting is adjourned.